Good morning, all my crafty friends. This is Dora the Fluid Crafter. Hi! Welcome back to my channel. I am a little quiet this morning. It is super early. It is actually 6:50 a.m. and I thought no one was here, no one was awake, so I would come in my craft room and do a quick video without being disturbed. So I wanted to actually do a step-by-step with you guys in the process instead of a speed through. If you guys want to speed it up, you're more than welcome to do that. You can do it by clicking the little gear icon in the bottom of the video and it'll speed it up. You turn the volume down, put on some music, and just watch me go for it. But a lot of times when I watch videos, I watch ones where people are talking and explaining and describing what they're doing, and so I wanted to kind of do that with you guys today. I am doing a collaboration with Co-Beads, as you know, and they sent me some beautiful products, and so I wanted to use some of those. I'll have those linked down below as well. And first and foremost, a thank you to all of my subscribers for coming back to see me and for watching my videos. All my new subbies, welcome. And let's get started. Okay, so what I've done is I have taken a canvas and I have just gessoed it black. Okay, now for this one I'm going to do a reverse canvas, and I'm also going to gesso the back of this. And you might ask, why in the world would you do that on both sides? Well, for me, I put a lot of embellishments on mine, and sometimes I miss little spots here and there, and so I do both sides just to ensure that there's no leakage anywhere and nothing's coming through, and you know, all that good stuff. So I'm going to fast forward it. You already know how to put gesso on, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to dry it with my heat tool, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that we have our canvas painted, it's all black, and I even went inside and where the little connectors are for the wood pieces, I even tried to get in there the best I could to make sure that it was all covered. Okay, so now you want to decide, do you want it this way or do you want it that way? Me, I'm going to do it this way today. And the next thing you need to do is pick a focal point. Now my focal point is from Victoria Designs, and it's one of her kits that she has. I love this little fairy girl. Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful, very unique, and so I'm going to use her as my focal point. I love the colors, very fall, very whimsical, and so I'm going to use her as my focal point. Not quite sure where I want to put her at yet, but I do want to use her. So what you want to do is take the colors that are in your focal point, and you want to gather things that have those colors in them so they blend together. I have chosen some flowers and some things like that, but I also gathered some things from my yard, like sticks and pine cones, things of that nature. You also want to get you some cardboard. You can get this from boxes, like Amazon boxes, shipping boxes, and stuff like that. And you can cut these up and use them to, you know, kind of like the puffy tape, where it gives you, where it pops the picture up for 3D. You can use either one. If you don't have the puffy tape, you can use, or foam tape I think is what it's called, you can use the cardboard. I like using the cardboard. Sometimes it gives it a little bit more dimension. So that's what we're going to do. Now before we do that part right there, I'm going to clear off my desk and I'm going to gather some wood pieces and we're going to do some embossing. I'll be right back. Okay, I got my little pieces out here, and as you can see, they're just little wood leaf pieces. There's various ones, and I got these from Co-Beads as well. Oh, love these so much. And so we are going to emboss and spray these. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So what you're going to need is you're going to need your pieces, piece of paper, or if you have one of these trays that has a little open part, you can use that as well. I need to clean mine out, so that's why I'm not using it right now. I had some glitter in it. Don't want glitter in my embossing powder. So you need an embossing pad, and then you need either alcohol sprays or acrylic sprays or whatever sprays that you want to use for the leaves. Now, I apologize for the glare, but I have my glass mat down. Easier to clean up than, you know, on my tablecloth. I have so many of them that are ruined, which is fine. I'd rather have that ruined than my table. So let me grab my sprays here. Now I mix my own alcohol inks, or my alcohol sprays, and I just use alcohol, about 70% alcohol, and then I just mix in food coloring, and let me tell you, it works absolutely great. Now I do have some dilutions and some of the Tim Holtz and stuff like that, and the Tattered Angels. I do have some of those sprays that I love so much, but for the basics, that's what I use. So I have brown, green, this one here is copper, blue, and I have orange. Okay, now I'm not going to use the blue one for the leaves, but I will be doing a combination of these here first, and then we want to dry them, and then we'll do a little embossing, and I'll show you how we'll do that. So I'm going to move that piece of paper out of the way, and I'm just going to bunch these up right here in the middle like this. Okay, and because the darker colors you want to put on last, because you know, have them go over top, I'm going to use the green. And now I'm not going to spray the whole thing. I'm just going to go like that. Then I'm going to take the orange, just randomly. Doesn't have to be, you know, in a certain spot. And then I'm going to take the brown, and then the copper. And I'm going to do a good spray with the copper so it blends in with that green. Okay, I'm going to move these over, and I'm going to wipe this down, clean it up. And this just gives like that a background color, really. Not really, you know, so if there's no embossing powder on a certain spot, or if there's like if you don't want the whole thing embossed, you just kind of want to make it look like it's, you know, vintage, or if you're doing that type of canvas, you know, that's always an alternative, is to just give it a good spray, and then you have your background. Okay, now, while I'm videoing, I don't have my baby wipes. Imagine that for a second. Let me just grab my towel here. See how well I can get it up with that, and I apologize if my head is in the way. Yeah, there we go. That's coming up. Good enough anyway. I pulled my baby wipes out to do the video, and I don't know where I sat them. Probably under something. Okay, now we're going to give those a quick dry, and it doesn't take long for these to dry. Pretty quick. I didn't, you know, saturate them. And if you got a heat tool, you can use that. Or if you have a hair dryer, you can use that as well. Okay, now that we have these pretty dry, you can see that they're different shades, so they're not the same. I'll show you that up close. And so they have that, you know, green, brownish tint, kind of like the change of the seasons. And now for a portion of them, I have my Lindy's embossing powder and my Recollections, and I have white by Crafter's Companion. Now, I do like the white by Crafter's Companion because it is, it's not, I don't really know how to, I'll have to show you when we do it. This one here by Recollections is the Golden Sand, if you can see that. Not sure if you can or not. And then I have Lindy's Of Quartz It Is. And I have the, that's Marvelous. And the Don't Scream Aquamarine. Get you out one of your static pads, or you can put baby powder down. I do believe that's what's in here. I think it's baby powder or something, anti-static. And you want to put that down on your mat or your tray or your paper, what have you, whatever you're using. It keeps the embossing powder from sticking. Okay. Now that we have that done, I'm just going to take one of each, and then I'll do the rest off camera, so that way, you know, you're not sitting here through this whole ordeal. Let's see. I think that's all of them, I do believe. Let me have a look down here. Yes, okay. Now, I think I'm going to use that one for this one, since it's got a multicolor, so you can kind of see it better. I take my embossing powder tip. Is if you run out of embossing ink or liquid, whatever, on your pad, instead of buying a new pad, get you some vegetable glycerin. It does not take much. And use this to refill your ink pads, because this works the same as this. And you will save hundreds and hundreds of dollars by doing that. Okay, if you get into a bind and you don't have the money for an embossing pad, use that until you can, you know, save up money to get a new pad, or you can just use that if you want to. So now I'm going to take just the tip of this leaf. Okay, so I got it on the tip. This one here, I'm going to press, but I'm not going to keep pressing because I'm not going to fill the whole leaf. I'm going to do the side of this one. I'm going to do the bottom, a portion of it anyway. Do the top and the bottom tip. And this one here, I'm going to try to do the middle. And so I'm just going to press that down in the middle. Let's move that out of the way. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to use is the marble. And it's got the pinks and different marble colors in it, which I think is really cool. You can see I'm just barely putting it over it. Okay. We're going to put that to the side. Well, that one's going to be hard to pick up, isn't it? We'll just do it like that. I try to shake off as much as I can, because for the leaves on this, I don't want it to be too thick because I still want to see some of that background. Okay, now I'm just going to lift this up. Put it back into my container. Move that out of the way. Okay, I'm going to use my tweezers so I don't burn my fingers here. Okay, and then we are going to see the magic. Okay, and so for the first round, I'll bring up a couple of these so you can kind of see here. Can you see the cool reflection of that? Okay. And so now, since that's like a glittery type, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some of the sand embossing, okay? Like I said, I'll do the rest of them off camera so that way you guys don't have to sit through the whole thing. I know embossing can be boring to some people. And so now I want the middle of this one, but if you get it on the top, it's okay too. Okay, I'm going to do the little corner here, and maybe down here a little bit. Okay, and same thing, I'm going to fold this in half so I don't mix any leftover residue into my new container here. Alright, and we're going to put these up here like that. And now I'm just going to tap this, okay? Because like I said, I don't want too much. I don't want it everywhere. Oops. And let's see if I can, there we go. If you hear talking in the background, that's my husband and roommate. I do apologize. Everybody is up now. Okay. And I'm going to do the same. Pick this up, put it back. Okay. Now I'm going to, I got some on here this time, so I'm going to push that over. Actually, I think I'm going to use this here to push it over off of my, I don't want to heat it and have it stuck to my mat. Okay, now we're going to heat these up and then I'll show you what happens, how it looks afterwards. so now you can see, especially with these two, the two-tone effect that you get. Love how that happens. Okay, so now these two are done. I like the way that those look. I like the way that one looks, and that one, and that one. I'm going to leave some of that green on there. Now this one here, I'm going to add some of this red to. And so I'm just going to take whatever's the whole thing, like this, put that in there. And I am going to take, this one is the, of course it is, I think that's what it says. It's hard to read on the label. And I don't have the container anymore because when I ordered it, it busted in the box. And so I'm actually missing one, I think. So we're just going to lightly add some different texture and definition to this. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. Not much, just a little. That's why I didn't put down the paper. Okay. And let's move that up out of the way. I'll shake it off later. All right, now. Okay, and now you can see how it gives it that little subtle pinkish color, even over top of the silver colored one and the white. You still have the mixture of the colors. So I really like that one. Now I'm gonna do the other ones, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now we are back. I am finished with the embossing, and I'll bring a couple of these up here so you can see them. How cool is that, right? Got a bunch of different colors in there. Very nice. I mean, I really love how these came out. They came out super well. So I'm super excited about that. Okay, so let's put those over there with those. Let's move that out of the way. And so now what I want to do is I want to try to figure out the composition where you're going to lay out onto the canvas how you want it to be before you glue it down. So we're going to take this. This is going to be the focal point. Okay, I'm just going to sit it right there in the middle for now. And I do want to add some sticks and stuff. So I'm going to pull these over. I just got these out of my yard. Okay, so I do want to make kind of a step, if that makes sense. Okay, so that one's going to be too big, so I'm going to just break it off. If it hangs over a little bit, that's okay. Let's see. Let's go up this way just a tad. And then once you got your thick ones down, I like to add some thin ones, some, to give it a different feel. So maybe one like that on the side. Let's see, do we have another one? Yes, we do. We can put that one on that side. Have it hanging over just a bit, like that. And so that gives us a 3D. And so I could kind of use this to see where I want to place my my focal point. And I'm kind of thinking maybe to this side a little bit, like right here. Okay, and so I'm going to keep that on the side because that's about where I want her to line up. Okay, and then you can lay out pine cones. You can lay out more sticks. I have these little glass berry stems. I have some greenery. I've got tons of flowers and things like that. And I've even got some of these that are black. So I may put a couple of these down here somewhere. Maybe sticking out like that. You know, just to, for a little bit more dramatic, you know, whatever. But yes, so lay it out. Make sure you take a picture. If you are afraid that it's not going to turn out the way that you laid it out, take a picture. That way you can reference it back. Me personally, I just kind of go off the whim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it out. I'm also going to collect and clean off anything that I don't want to use. And this way my table is not completely too full. And I'll be right back and we'll start gluing it down and we'll kind of take this together step by step. I'll see you in a few. Okay, welcome back guys. I laid it out. I like how it looked and I am ready to start gluing down. So if you guys have yours, you got your pictures taken or you can remember where it is, then let's get started. Okay, I did a couple of extra things, but I'll show you what I did along the way while I was off camera embossing the leaves and then doing my little layout. Now I didn't take a picture because like I said, I like to go off my whim, but I did gather up all the things that I would like to use, and so I may use them, I may not use them, but I like how they looked, so we're just going to go for it. Now first thing is I want to add this to the bottom right here. Okay, but before I do that, I want to paint all of this black. I don't want that gold on there. I'll do this. I'll paint it black. I'm just letting you guys know what I'm going to be doing, so when I come back and this is painted black, you'll understand why. I'm not going to do it right this second, but the next break I do, then you'll see this and it'll be all new and different. And it's just a little handle that I picked up, a whole bucket of these different types for like $5 at a thrift store. Absolutely amazing. So I do want to use this on the bottom, so I pulled that out. Okay, so now the wood pieces first, right? Okay, so I'm going to use my Liquitex matte gel medium. I'm also just using a palette knife, and it's just a plastic one. I like to save my metal ones, my good ones, for my painting and stuff. I don't want to get them all gunked up. And so I want to put, and I changed my mind, I'm going to go up just a little bit because there's something special that I want to do. And so I just need to glue the ends that are touching the side of the frame. Okay. And so we're just going to put, now that's way too much, but that's okay. I'm going to go to the other side here so you can see. And I do put a good amount because there's a gap between the wood and the frame. Some of it's probably going to ooze out, but that's okay. I'm going to pick it up. And so you just push it down and you take off whatever oozes out or you don't use on the wood. Save it. That's what I like to do anyways. I just put it back in my container. Look on the other side. I'm actually going to pull that down just a little bit. There we go. That way it's on all sides. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect because it dries and it dries clear. And a lot of this is going to be covered up by the next pieces. Okay, like I said, we're going to be a little higher at the top. Okay. Like I said, I'm just gluing the part that's going to be touching the canvas, not necessarily the whole thing. You know, there's no reason to waste. Let's see, that needs to go over a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Yep, got the wrong part. That's okay. Okay, there's that. Now we need some mossy pieces. So let's put a couple of mossy pieces up here. I'm just going to put some right in the middle here, where it's going to connect to the other wood pieces. Like that. Okay. And then, let's see here. I do want that, but that's probably going to... Do I need another section? Maybe over here. Yeah, let's add that one. Let's add that one there. This time I'm just going to do like this. Like that right there. There we go. Okay, now let's see. Let's add some smaller pieces. I do want this one with the arms and stuff on there. And so let's see, where can we put you at? Right there, maybe? Yep. Just gonna dab it on there this time. Let's see. Take that off the end. There we go. Just like that. And that will stick down. And then because now I can see where and I'm going to move to the other side of my table really fast. I can see where the stick is laying. And so now I know where to add a little bit here, so that it sticks on both sides and not just one. Like that. Like that. Maybe. There we go. I'll just take the excess off. Okay. Now we got those. And here is another one that I would like to use. It's got the little arms on it. And I'm going to put this one on this side. Okay. So I'm going to lay that there. Rub that in there like that. And now for this part, I'm going to grab a brush, which is another way that you can do this. You can brush it off. I like to get the bulk of it off with the palette knife. And then that way my brush doesn't get too gunky. And this here I can clean up the little small areas, because I don't want any of that to, you know, when it dries, I don't want it to be real thick in a certain area or to be seen. So now that we have the sticks there, I want her to be about like that. Okay. And now I'm going to add some mossy stuff in just some areas here, just to kind of give it that winter feel. I'm going to use my brush this time because this is really thin, so I don't want, you know, big gulp of it anywhere. And then I can also press it down and kind of just get it in between the cracks here and let it hang or do whatever. Kind of like Bob Ross, you know. But some pretty little moss right here. And then we're going to do the other side as well. And we're going to go right in here like that. Then we're just going to shove it in the cracks. You don't want to glue it all down. You want some of it to be, you know, free-flowing. It gives it more of an authentic look when it's, you know, free-flowing. Okay, now I have some lighter color here. So we're going to put some of this in there. I'm going to do a little bit here. And if you need to lift the piece up to get it under there, that's okay too. You can always push it right back down. You have to put something to hold that down for a minute. Might be a little too thick, but that's okay. Okay. I'm gonna put a little bit here too. Maybe, maybe not. See, sometimes things do not work out, and that's okay. But I do want to put some more of this. You know what? Let's put some over here. Like that. There we go. Okay. Now I also have some straw that I want to add in a couple of places. Just a couple pieces here and there. Maybe in between. Or in a crevice, maybe somewhere sticking out. Just kind of gives it more of that autumny feel. If I can get that to go down, there we go. Yep, we are recording mistakes and on. There's already glue under there, so I don't have to add any more per se. So that's good. And let's see. You know what? I might just stick you right there where I was going to put that other one. Yeah, I'll put you right there. Okay. I'll put you in some water. Okay. Got straw in my cap. Okay, so now I want to add a few small pine cones, but not just a couple where I know I'm not going to have a flower or something like that. So I want to put one right there. And then I want to put one over on the other side, like that. And maybe one down here. Maybe a small one down there as well. Like that. Yeah, I think that looks good for now. We'll add some more along the way. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to put this up. Okay, best way to do that on the back is with cardboard. At least that's what I found. And so I got my big scissors to cut cardboard easier. And you don't have to go all the way across the cardboard, just cut it in sections, and then it's easier to get across when you do it in sections than trying to go the whole way. Unless you need a really big piece, and then you can go all the way across. I'm going to cut up a few of them right now because I know that I will need them again. Okay. Oh, we'll just go ahead and do this one too. Okay. So now you want to measure the back. You don't want to cover the whole thing because you're going to be putting things in between or underneath, and I'll show you. So you just want to put it on the back. So that's way too big. And so we want to cut that down. Okay. And then we'll cut it down again. And so when you put it just in the middle, like this, you have this edging that you could stick leaves behind or pieces of grass or something like that. You have that option to do that. So that's going to be the size that we use. And are they all going to be the same? Probably not, but that's okay. And then I'm going to stick these back here so I can measure how high I need it to be. Okay, let's see where we are. Okay. And yes, sometimes it takes a lot of cardboard. And I know a lot of people wonder how they get them, people get them to stand up as high as they do. It's because, we put cardboard behind it to give it that 3D effect. As you can see, I'm going a little bit smaller as I get closer to the top. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. And to glue this down, the one on the bottom, I'm just going to use my matte gel. Now, you don't have to coat it. You just need a little thin layer. About like that. And this is to make sure that it doesn't come back off of the canvas. Just kind of put it in the middle, like so. Make sure it's about where you want it. Yep. And then I use my art glitter glue for the other pieces, so that way I save on my matte gel medium. And let me make sure I have it out. Yep, there it is. Okay. And I'm just going to glue these to each other. just like that. And because this is paper, cardboard's, you know, pretty much paper, the art glitter glue sticks to it really, really well. And you don't want to put matte gel on the back of your photo because matte gel sometimes will wrinkle, or especially if you have an inkjet printer, will discolorize and bleed your photo out. Okay. Now we have that there. Now let's just double check. No, we want to come up a little bit more. Because I don't want her to look like she's leaning backwards. I want her to look like she's, you know, up where she should be. I think that's good right there. And then I'm just going to add glue to the back of this. And place her where I would like her to be. I'm going to turn it this way just a little bit so I can make sure that I'm straight. I mean, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Yep, okay, that looks good. And then as you can see, she's up. And then when we get finished, you won't even be able to see the cardboard. Okay, so now that we have her in place, now you can always do this last and, you know, keep adding her down, and then, you know, as you go along with your other embellishments, you can also do that. I like to do it first so that way I know where she's at. Let me move those up out of the way. Okay, and so now I'm just going to strategically place things where I would like for them to be. This is self-explanatory, matte gel medium, my embellishments, and then through this process I'm just going to speed it up so that way I'm not sitting here talking. So I will see you guys when I get everything laid out. Okay, one more thing before we get started here, and I fast forward. I just wanted to make a note that if you don't have matte gel medium, you can always use Eileen's Tacky Glue. Eileen's Tacky Glue also holds and bonds really, really well. However, if you're putting a lot of things on here, I do recommend you getting some matte gel medium. And there's so many different companies that have it. If you can't afford a whole lot, I do know that Walmart carries the brand. I personally have not tried it, but it may work for you. You can always try that. I may actually grab a bottle just to test it, just so I can let you guys know if it works. So anyways, let's get busy. I'll be fast forwarding and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, now that we have everything where we want it, I have pulled out my Finnabare's texture paints. Okay, so we got cool gray, we have cream, and we have mint green. Okay, so these are the colors that I chose. Now, down here on the bottom, you'll see that I have already done the blue. I did that so that way it could, highlight, you guys could see what I was doing. And this is just a technique called dry brushing. And I just use an acrylic block. I take some out and then I take some off with the brush. So that way it's not coming on in gunks. It's just highlighting. Okay, and so all you do, now this isn't fully dry, but I wanted to go ahead and show you guys, is you want to hold this, you can make sure it's dry first, and then you just go over very lightly. Okay, just lightly, not very, don't push really hard. You don't want all the nicks and crannies to be painted over, unless you want to do a base color, then that's okay. And then just highlight, and I have to hold this down, so I apologize. Okay, and then it's got sand in it, so it gives it that texture, that rough textured. Okay, and then when you go to the next color, I just do a towel because I don't want it wet. And you can always use a different brush. Also, I think I might do that. Okay, I'll just grab a little smaller one. And these are just the acrylic brushes. Now the next color I want to do is the green. So you go dark and then you go up. The lightest color you have should be last, and that's just so it doesn't get covered up. Like I said, I'm just barely going over it. Let me get a little bit, there we go. There we go, that's better. Like I said, I want to keep the blue, but I also want to have a couple of the other colors that are in the background here on this as well. I may have to re-glue this down. And you can keep going until you get the right color or the right blend that you like. Sometimes tapping it instead of brushing it also works, especially because it's the texture paste, so you get that texture on there as well. Yeah, I'm gonna have to re-glue this down. I think that's okay. I'll do it after. Don't worry about getting it on the canvas. We're going to put splatter marks on it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And so there's the green. Now it doesn't even look like blue and green. It almost looks like gray and then like a creamy color, right? And then the cream is probably going to look like white. And that's the good thing about Finnabare's paints is they react different on different backgrounds. Okay, so now I got a different one, and I'm going to take the cream. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Like I said, I'm just tapping it to dry the brush as much as possible, but still have a little bit of paint on it. And I just go back and tap it after I, touch it a few times. If I need more, I just grab more. Ooh, too much. See how that happens? You gob it a little bit. And that's okay. I'll go back and clean some of that up in just a second. There we go. It happens. Sometimes it happens. I know my hand is in the way. I apologize. I'm just trying to hold this down. There we go. I think that looks great. Okay, let me stick these in the water so they don't dry out. Let's clean this off. Okay. Now I'm going to cover these up, and then I'm going to glue that back down. When you're doing this section, it's best to let it dry first, but I wanted to go ahead and show you guys since it was already here. And you know, sometimes I don't like to wait for things to dry, and you know, lesson learned, right? Okay, so let me get it back out my matte gel, and my plastic ones are dirty, so I'm going to use my metal one here, which like I said I don't really like to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, now I just need to turn it and line it back up where I had it. That looks good. Okay, and I'm going to leave that to dry. So I'm going to leave this to dry, and when this is dry I will come back, finish off the video. We're going to do some splatter marks and some other little touch-ups, and we are going to be adding a couple of frames that I have done with Finnabare's Rust Effect to give it that autumn, really nice autumn colors and look to it. And so this one here will be going over her like this, and then these here will be put in other sections. And these frames also came from Co-Beads, and I will be linking them down below. So I will be back as soon as this all dries. Okay, everything is dry, or at least dry to where I can kind of work with it a little bit. This is fully dry on the bottom, and I can add all my frames. So what we're going to do is I've got two of them placed where I want them, one up here, one down here. And then the one that's going to go onto her, I just put a little puffy pieces on the back here, and I'm going to attach that to the picture. You have to excuse me, it's the next day. I had to wait overnight for it to dry, so that way I could, you know, be sure that it wasn't going to come up while I was messing around with it again. Okay, let's see. We're going to go about there. Yes, I think that looks good. Then I have this one here, and then I have that one, and I'm just going to be using some art glitter glue. I put it in this bottle because it's easier. My bottle I didn't get the tip with, and because I already had these, so I just put some in this one. So I'm going to attach that one down here. Like that. Just hold it for a couple of seconds so that it grabs. Art glitter glue also dries clear, so if a little bit comes out the sides, that's okay. Now if you get a big gush come out the side, yes, clean that up. But if it's just a tad, I mean, me personally, I'm not too concerned about it. So we're going to flip this around, and we're going to attach this one here. And I'm only going to add the glue on the top and the bottom because the edges will go over just a little bit. There we go. Just going to give it a little press to grab it. And there, I got a little bit more out of the side than what I wanted. So I'm just going to take my little rubber tool here. It's actually for clay, but it does great for glue as well. Okay. There we go. All right. So those are on now. I'm going to put that to the side. And then the last part that I want to do is our little splatters. Now this time, oop, I got some on the top up there. Look at that. Let's get that out. And yeah, I just put it on my hand and then wipe it off. Okay. And you know, if a bunch of it gushes out and for some reason, you know, it doesn't dry clear, or if you're using a glue that doesn't, you can always go back and paint it black. That's the good thing about having a black canvas. Okay, so now I want to do splatters. Now the splatters that I'm going to do are going to be darker colors, so that way it shows up really nice on the light stuff, but on the black canvas it's very subtle. And then before we do that, I need to get a scrap sheet of paper and I need to cover her face, because I don't want her face having splatter marks. I want to be able to see her face through everything else. And this is just a piece of packaging. I'm just kind of tearing it down to size here. It's got a plastic film on it, I think. There we go, that'll work. And then I just cover it up like that, and then I do my splashes. So we're going to come this way just a tad. And I'm going to grab my inks. We're going to do green, black, white, and red. Okay, then you need something to put the paint on, so I'm going to grab my, well, I was going to grab my glass mat, but I think I'm just going to grab a piece of plastic. This will work. It's just some packaging plastic. Grab me my paintbrush. If you have a fan brush, it works better than a regular brush. Just an FYI. Most of my brushes are dirty right now. I've been doing a lot of artwork, so I'm going to grab my Bob Ross brush. And this one here was actually really big, and I had cut it down so it's a little stiffer. So I'm hoping this one will work. Grab your spray bottle of water. And we are going to do the dark green first. Now this is just liquid acrylic. You can see it's a dark green. Almost looks black when you put it on the paper. More like a teal green, I think, but it's really dark. It doesn't have the color on it. So anyways, and then I'm just going to give it a spray of water, and then I'm going to mix it with my fan brush. And when you're doing a fan brush, be very lightly when you tap it, because a fan brush will put big splatters if you're not careful. So I just tap it lightly. I don't want a whole lot of splatters, just enough to kind of give a little bit of a accent. I go a little bit harder down here around the black. To kind of give some of that. There we go. Like I said, not too much, but just enough. I could have used my acrylic block too. And then we are going to use red. Maybe give that a couple of splatters. Let's use this one. See how that one works? Yeah, that one's okay. If you tap it with your hand instead of something else, one, it's not very loud, and two, you get you know, multiple splatter marks where you would like them, versus just your finger, you know, tapping it like this and then like this. Okay, and so now I'm going to bring the acrylic block out because I don't want them to run together. So now I'm going to do the black. The black you want to be careful with. Don't get too overzealous with the black, unless you're, you know, unless that's what you really want. The black can be very, it can take over because it's so much darker than the other ones. So just see, do you see? And just some spots here and there is what I like to do, not everywhere. Just to give an accent like that. That's it. So now we're going to do the white, but before we do that, let me grab my towel because I don't want the white to blend in with that black and make gray. And I apologize for the glare. Okay, now I'm going to dry this just a tad so they don't blend in. Okay. Now I'm going to do white. But for the white, I'm going to put a bunch of drops down there. And the reason being is because I'm going to get a, I'm going to see if I have, there it is, my little fan brush, which is the one I like to use for my white. Now this is just a cheap fan brush from Walmart, but it does so well. And I want the white to kind of bring everything together. And so I'm not going to add as much water because I want it to stay, you know, a vibrant white. And you'll see here the difference with a fan brush and a regular brush. And you see how the splatters are all different? Which makes it unique, you know. Okay, I think that's good. Like I said, not too overzealous. So let me move this out of the way, put this in the trash. Okay, and then I want to dry this off really quick. It'll literally take 2 seconds. I apologize for the noise again. Okay, and the key to using a heat tool is when you're just drying something off like this, you want to keep it up above, you know, a good amount away from your work, and always keep the heat tool moving. You know, don't stop in one spot for too long, because then it'll either melt whatever's there or it'll bubble up your paint and things. So just, you know, keep wary of that. I know a lot of you guys already know how to use the heat tool, but this is for anyone who is unsure. So here we have it, guys. Our creation that we did. Isn't that beautiful? Just beautiful. And then there's our handle on the bottom. So when she sits up, she'll look like that, if you can see. I think it's gorgeous. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And I put the little birdie here. And since this looks like a nest, I put a little birdie right there. So that way it's mom and dad having their babies. So anyways, thanks so much, guys, for joining me and learning how to do a little bit of a mixed media on canvas, reversed canvas actually. Wall decoration, home decor, just something unique and different. And I hope you guys will come back and watch future videos. And don't forget to check out Co-Beads. I will link them down below. And check out all their wonderful products. They are so amazing. Okay, guys, I will see you again next time. Be creative, stay blessed, and think outside your box. Bye-bye now.